very good day to all my listeners all across the world. Welcome back to my podcast, George Nathaniel, and this is George Nathaniel for each one of you. Listeners, as you know, my podcast is all about sharing good experiences and sharing wellness all across the world, and most importantly, trying to help each other grow faster. We are in the month of June. So, this podcast I would like to dedicate it to myself because sometimes you need to do things for yourself. Well, the topic for today's podcast is milestones. Milestones, wow. Each one of us has a lot of milestones that we have already achieved in life, a lot of milestones that we are working towards achieving in life. So, what would I want to share when it comes to milestones? To begin with, I must tell you, milestones is your storyline. You got to understand that fact that milestones is your storyline. It's all the obstacles and challenges, everything that you have overcome in life, everything that you have worked hard towards, and everything has made you what you are today and what you want to be tomorrow. So, milestones is a storyline of places, things, and achievements that you have surpassed over time. Yes, you have surpassed each one of them. But don't get stuck on milestones. You've got to keep on moving. So, when I say milestones keep on moving, I must begin my podcast by telling you numbers don't define your worth. Keep being inspired to go beyond your best. Milestones definitely takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Scaling over milestones are tough, but you need to keep on persisting. You need to make sure that if you started something, you need to get through it. And that is the power of keeping on moving. So when I say keep moving, looking at your strategic growth, your framework of your efforts along your journey of life. And when I say milestones, it's your storyline. What does it come down to? Well, when I say milestones and I talk about your roadmap and your storyline, I'd say as individuals, it's very, very, very important for each one of you for time and again to sit down and evaluate. You need to identify the vision in your journey. So when I say you need to identify the vision in your journey, you need to see where you are, what you want to be, and how you can get whatever you want to achieve or scale over in your journey of life. What is your eventual goal? How much work is going to get into achieving those goals? And don't just sit back and dream it. Getting work done means you need to put it into action. How are you going to accelerate your growth? So when I say elevate and accelerate your growth, you need to pace up your journey in life and pace them up fast. And how do you mark milestones? It's very, very important for us to understand how do you mark milestones. Are you benchmarking milestones in terms of short term, long terms, scalable, achievable, learnable? So it's very, very important to mark milestones. And when I come to milestones, I've read this very beautiful quote and it's so realistic. The quote says, you'll achieve more, much more by being consistently reliable than by being occasionally extraordinary. What a wonderful post. What a wonderful two-liner. Yes, I definitely agree that you will achieve more, much more by being consistently reliable than by being occasionally extraordinary. You got to write this down as your two-liner in your journey of life. In your journey of achieving milestones, this has to be the two lines to influence you. So milestones is that great part of success. that great part that will help you to reach your goals. And when you talk about milestones in your personal life, your professional life, or any of your contribution in life, when you sit back, when you relate, when you understand, when you evaluate, you understand that milestones have come through your own personal improvements and development. Milestones has been that strongest progressive part of you, the most strongest part of influencing your mindset to overcome that challenge, to scale over and to achieve much, much more in life. And what you need to understand is as you convert through your action and grow over milestones, you need to continuously keep growing over and never settle for an average lifestyle. There's a two-liner that says, why settle for less when you deserve more? Why settle for less when you deserve more? Well, that it's exactly is milestones, your storyline. Don't settle for less when you deserve more. And keep on building your storyline in life. Milestones are a reflection of your growth. Milestones are a reflection of your efforts or your achievements. It is your success story along your journey in life. It's how you have worked your way up. It's how you scaled your way up. It's how and what that will help you to be the best person in what you are today. And understand, milestones never come by perfection on hard work alone. Or milestones never come by perfection on dedication alone. Milestones are a real time trust in yourself to keep going on, to keep pushing over, to keep scaling a new benchmark as you go over time in life. And when I talk about any of my podcasts, I talk about key takeaways. And when I would talk about key takeaways in milestones, and I say it's your storyline, I would talk about very few key takeaways that are very crucial, are very important, and something that we need to take to ourselves personally if you want to grow over milestones and building your storyline. The most important takeaway is ownership. You need to own the outcome, take responsibility, and keep pursuing. So, ownership is very important. Resourcefulness, self independent resourcefulness. So, when you are independent, you are improving yourself, you are adapting to a new environment, you are adapting over your journey in life as you keep scaling and you keep growing over. Your focus, it's very important to invest in yourself, and focus is something that develops your growth, because you know that as you achieve one milestone, that leads to 10 more milestones ahead of you. So focus is developing growth, and we have growth. Growth comes when you build over your skills. Growth comes when you get the better of betterment and when you're bettering your own mark. That is growth. So every time you hit a new milestone, light up your world in self appreciation. Tap yourself and say, yes, I've done it, I've achieved it, I've achieved a new milestone. No matter how small or no matter how big it is, even if you have helped someone to achieve a milestone, give a tap on your back. You deserve it. You work for it. So milestones are places that you work towards over time and where you expect to be. That is milestones. And milestones has a very simple aspects. Decisions are always easier when it's put into action. and we can put it into actions as we grow over, as we power ourselves, driving over better results, as we enhance our skill set, as we keep improving ourselves on over self development, and above everything else, we need to be happy over every milestone. That is the success story. Self appreciation is very very important because you understand the milestone that you have achieved for yourself. So as an individual you understand your limitations, and you know when you have scaled over something new or you have achieved something new. Tap yourself, pamper yourself, gift yourself, self appreciate yourself. That is very 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 important. Milestones, your storyline takes you beyond wealth. It's about understanding how much of knowledge you have achieved over time that is helping you in your achievements in life. So, listeners, as you know, I keep all my topics of my podcast very simple, very precise, and I understand that there are different segmentation of my listeners. So I have young listeners, I have mid segment career amateurs who've just got into the got into careers part. I've got professionals, I've got successful people, and I've got even much more successful people. So you see, there's a whole line of successful people, and each one of them have got their own success stories. They've got their own benchmark, and each one of them has got their own vision for themselves. So that's the reason why I keep my podcast very clear, very realistic, and of course I keep it very general, so it becomes easy for each one of you to relate in your course of life. I hope you like listening to this podcast of mine, Milestones, your storyline, keep moving. And I wish each one of you greater success in life. I wish each one of you keep scaling over new achievements, higher growth, and of course being the best version in yourself. So wishing each one of you a wonderful and successful journey in your storyline. Listeners, as you know, my podcast George Nathaniel is available across all platforms, and I also have my blog website which is called georgenathaniel.net. So my podcasts are different from my blogs. And of course, to all my listeners who keep coming in with requests, come in, put in a request, and I'll be more than happy to talk about the subject line or the storyline that you want to listen to that will help others also grow faster in life. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, Milestones, It's Your Storyline. This is George Nathaniel, and I wish each one of you greater success in your journey in life. Keep striving towards greater success. Thank you so much. This is George Nathaniel.